In this video, we're going to talk about dotted rhythms. Now, the term dotted rhythms comes from Western classical sheet music, and you can see this chart I got off Wikipedia here, illustrating the basic concept of what dotted notes are. So in sheet music, we have all the same values we have in the MIDI editor, but they have different symbols, right? This circle is a whole note. It's worth 4 beats, usually. This hole with the stick on it, the stem here, is a half note, and that's worth 2 beats. We have a quarter note and an eighth note. If we add a dot to each of those notes on the side, then it extends that note by half its value. So the dotted whole note goes from being 4 beats to 6 beats long. The dot adds 1 beat to the half note to make it 3 beats long. The dotted quarter is 1.5 beats long, and the dotted eighth note is 3/4 of a beat long. This is a little confusing. I find this to be one of the most challenging things to explain to young music students. Once you get used to it, it's like not that big of a deal, but at first it's kind of counterintuitive. In a DAW, however, we don't have to worry about all that. We can see the exact ratio of the notes in the MIDI editor. So here is a rhythm that is the equivalent of a dotted quarter note and an eighth note. So we have 3 eighth notes worth of note all held out together, and then a single eighth note. It's a 3-to-1 ratio. Let's listen to it. And I'm sure you've heard that kind of rhythm a million times. You probably never thought of it as a dotted rhythm. You can certainly compose and play and perform these rhythms without knowing that they're called dotted. However, the reason I want to highlight what they're called is because certain audio and MIDI effects include dotted settings in their UIs. So if I add echo to this track, you can see here that the delay defaults to being a dotted eighth note. I can change that to other values, but we're going to stick with the dotted eighth note for right now. And this is a very common delay setting. So I actually have another clip here that just has a single chord. And let's listen to what a dotted eighth delay sounds like. If I change this to just an eighth note delay, it does sound different without the dot in there. The dot actually gives it sort of a cool groove. So it's worth knowing about dots, and that's why I'm doing this video. If we look at this clip, you can see a faster dotted rhythm. This is a dotted 8th 16th note rhythm here, and we have 3 eighth notes all sort of tied together into one note, and then a 16th note. Let's listen to that. So again, it's a 3-to-1 ratio. It's kind of a cool groove. It's not dotted in the DAW, but you need to know that it is a dotted rhythm so that if you interact with musicians that are reading sheet music, maybe you're going to do some film scoring and you need to write it out in notation. It's a good skill to have. I highly recommend being able to read and write Western sheet music just because it opens up so many more gigs for you. But it's not strictly necessary if you're just composing in a MIDI editor.